This 1980s mall never closed, they just stopped letting people out. When Sunrise Galleria closed for renovations in 1989, no one questioned it. Shopping malls across America were struggling. Newer centers had opened nearby, and the once bustling Galleria had started to feel dated. But what happened after the closure was different. Workers who locked up for the last time reported hearing Christmas music playing from shuttered stores, even though the sound system had been disconnected. Security logs from the following months showed motion sensors triggering almost every night in the food court. And then silence. For 30 years, Sunrise Galleria sat on the edge of town, its massive glass atrium covered in dust, its parking lot cracking under weeds. Officially, it was abandoned, but people who lived nearby whispered that something inside was still moving. The real horror began when a group of friends decided to see for themselves. They entered through a service door pried open near the loading dock. They expected broken glass, mold, and decay. Instead, what they found made no sense. The mall was perfectly preserved, storefronts were spotless, clothing racks displayed outfits with 1989 price tags still attached. An arcade machine glowed faintly, repeating its attract screen as though it had been plugged in all these years. And in the food court, a Cinnabon oven radiated warmth, the air faintly scented with sugar and cinnamon. It was as if the mall had closed yesterday. The friends whispered among themselves, nervously joking about how the place felt alive. But unease grew when they noticed the mannequins. Some stood behind glass, dressed in neon sweaters and wide-collared shirts. Others sat casually in the food court, trays of plastic food in front of them. But their lips weren't smooth plastic. They were cracked, raw, blistered, as though burned. One of the friends muttered Orange Julius under their breath, referencing the mall's old juice stand. No one laughed. And then came the music. Faint Christmas carols echoing overhead, tinny, distorted, as though playing from an ancient tape deck. The friends froze. The mall had been closed for decades. Nothing should still be working. They found the security office on the lower level. Dust covered the desk, paper scattered like they'd been dropped in a hurry. But the real discovery was the wall of monitors. The screens flickered to life. At first only static, then shoppers. Men, women, children, all in 80s clothing, carrying bags, sipping sodas, laughing. The friends turned to look out the door. The halls outside were silent, empty. Back to the monitors, the mall was full of life. Something was wrong with the shoppers. Their movements were jerky, puppet-like, and their blistered lips curled into grotesque smiles as they lifted drinks to their mouths. The friends stared in silence until one of them noticed something else. A filing cabinet in the corner. Inside, dozens of VHS tapes, each labeled with dates from the late 80s through the 90s. Most were dusty. One was not. The label read, Evacuation Drill DEC 31 1999. They slid the tape into the player. The screen flickered, revealing a line of employees near the freight elevator in the basement. Clerks, janitors, managers, pale, uneasy, but not panicked. At the front was a man in a suit, clearly the mall's general manager. The timestamp read 11:47 p.m. December 30th, 1999. The footage had no audio, but the manager's lips moved clearly. Lip readers who later studied the tape all agree on the final words. They want us to stay for midnight. The elevator doors closed. The tape ended. The friends stared at each other, unsettled. Then the monitors flickered again. Every screen now showed the friends themselves, but not in the security office. On the monitors, they stood in line at the freight elevator, faces pale, eyes empty, waiting. The friends spun around. The office was empty, but on screen, their doubles stepped into the elevator. The doors slid shut. What happened after is pieced together only from fragments of video the friends uploaded before disappearing. One clip shows mannequins moving in formation, arms twitching as though they were marching silently through the halls. Another shows one friend screaming as an escalator jolts to life beneath them, carrying them upward while mannequins waited motionless at the top. The final clip is the most disturbing. It shows the group sprinting toward the parking garage, the exit in sight, moonlight spilling through shattered glass. They're almost free. But the camera turns just once toward the food court. It is full. Hundreds of shoppers, laughing, carrying bags, eating, drinking, all dressed in 80s fashion. The camera zooms closer. Their eyes are hollow. Their blistered lips peel into wide, toothy smiles. The footage ends there. The friends never returned. Their families filed missing persons reports. Nothing came of it. Locals still whisper about Sunrise Galleria. Drivers say they've seen lights flickering inside after midnight. Others claim to hear faint music, always Christmas songs, drifting from the locked doors. Theories vary. Some say the mall is trapped in time, endlessly replaying New Year's Eve 1999, pulling in anyone foolish enough to enter. Others believe the mannequins are failed imitations, shells waiting for the living to replace them. And the darkest theory claims the mall itself is alive. Its halls are veins, its lights a pulse. The mannequins are just extensions of it. The shoppers are bait. The ovens stay warm because the mall is always feeding. The music plays because it must lure you deeper. And when midnight comes, it wants company. If you ever find yourself near Sunrise Galleria and you hear faint Christmas music through the night, don't stop, don't look inside, don't listen. Because this mall doesn't want shoppers. It wants you to stay for midnight. If this story chilled you, like this video. It helps more people find these forgotten horrors. And if you're new, subscribe and turn on the bell. I share new horror stories every week, haunted places, urban legends, and unexplained mysteries. Most importantly, leave your theories in the comments. What do you think happened to the employees in 1999? And what are the mannequins really? Because some stories end when the lights go out. But Sunrise Galleria, it never really closed.